Hey, can you hear me all
Yep,
right?
yep, I can hear you.
All right, perfect. Just let me set up for a minute and we'll start right in the hour. I'm going to read your Twitter bio to introduce you. So just be ready for that. And then I'll, hop into questions and you introducing yourself.
Perfect. Sounds good.
And it's Mortak or Mortak. How do you say that?
More cash.
Mortash. Oh,
I get
thank
it a
you.
lot. It's okay.
Thank you. Welcome to the Talking About Life podcast. I am your host, Ian Lepkowski, Kowski on Twitter, or Kowski.eth. Welcome to the show. We have another guest today here on the Talking About Life podcast. As always, we start by being grateful and expressing gratitude for having a guest. We express gratitude to the universe, to God, to source, to energy for bringing these guests to us and allowing the energy in the universe to flow in this way that keeps this show running and keeps bringing value to the listeners. Today, our honored guest is Thomas Mortash, or at Mortash Thomas on Twitter. That's at MortachThomas. His Twitter bio reads, father of two girls, loving husband, Nebby to Web3 NFTs, or sorry, newbie, I think, to Web3 NFTs. If you like any kind of music slash make music, we are friends already. Travel is key. Get out and explore. Love the bio. Thomas, how are you doing today and how are you doing in general?
I'm doing awesome. Thank you very much for holding the space and let me come up here and talk about life. Just appreciate the space. Yeah, right now, just I'm feeling good. A little nervous, kind of a new thing to me. So just kind of here to just vibe out.
Awesome. Well, if it helps clear your nerves, there's no rules. Nobody gives a fuck. We could do whatever we want. It's all vibes and it's all passion. So feel free to just let it flow. There's no judgment and it's all love. So the focus of the show, it's kind of broad, but it's talking about guest passions. So we like to explore that from many different angles. It's really whatever you're personally passionate about. You have listed family as a passion. That's a big one for a lot of people. Another one you have is music and travel. If you don't mind, music is kind of the one that's catching my interest first here. If you like any kind of music slash make music, we are friends already. Do you want to tell me a little bit about that first? And then, we could kind of go on to whatever else you want to talk about.
Oh yeah, absolutely. No, music to me, man, it's just it hits me different. I don't know if you get that euphoria or excitement of just when you hear a song, it just hits your soul a certain way that you're just like it gets you pumped, or it makes you sad, or makes you remember about a time with friends or family, or anything like that. There's something always there to remember that time you had with somebody or family or group of people. So music brings a broad of people together as one. For I mean, Coachella, for instance, and Tomorrowland from all the way across the pond. I mean, it's just we all gather together for the same thing and to bond with music, to vibe and to love and just enjoy being around everybody that likes to be in the same place.
I agree. That's beautiful. I personally, yes, I vibe with you. I'm someone who's gone to many concerts, many shows, will continue to go to concerts and shows for the rest of my foreseeable life because I see myself always loving it, always wanting to be, around the crowds, around the positivity, around the music, around the emotions, like you said, the memories, the nostalgia, whatever it brings up in you, what it brings up in other people, and how it helps you connect and talk about the music. So I agree, and I absolutely love that. Now, you said if you're making music, we're friends. Are you making music or you're just generally putting it out there? I love everyone who's into music.
I necessarily don't make music. Kind of backtrack here to a little info about myself. I'm just a regular old 9 to 5 guy, dude. I go to work every single day. You know, kind of just I'm here, family first, as always. But kind of my hobbies and stuff were music, and I got into it with my brother a long time ago. We booked some studio time. We were writing songs, and I got a little DJ mixer from like Best Buy, and had my little computer at the time, and we were just kind of making beats, and we would go to the studio and just go in there and record just all kinds of stuff, and it was just our getaway of you know I don't want to say being kids, but like it was our passion to like try to make something that we thought was really cool. So like it brought me and my brother closer together. So like I took that passion and kind of went later on and down in life, and took into consideration of like buying better equipment and stuff. And done a couple family weddings. I've done a couple bars. I've done some open mics for local artists around my area. So I mean, it was just kind of a thing that I like to do. That I think that if I make something, that person might vibe to and be like, you know what, I really like this guy, but I like what he's saying. You know what I mean?
Yeah, man. I think that's totally awesome. And, you're saying it's kind of like a hobby, but then on the same vein, you're talking about how it turned into something where you're making money, you're monetizing it, you're successful. So I would say, maybe in your head, you feel like, oh, I'm kind of just getting started. To me, I think that's impressive. I think it kind of sounds a little bit maybe like you're underselling yourself, because to me, that's impressive. Let me ask you this. You're doing shows and events. You got started with your brother. What is the dynamic that you had between you and your brother, and then what is the dynamic you have now where you kind of went on solo? And by that I guess I mean like, who was the singer, guitar player, what instruments you were playing, that kind of thing.
Well, so me and my brother, we worked together at our family bowling alley. So we just kind of just was together all the time, just helping out, and eventually, working and getting paid and stuff, which is cool. But when we were just hanging out in the back of the bowling alley, just like what can we write, and he just had a niche for rhyming, and I had a niche for instrumentals. Just it didn't even need to have words. I just vibed out to the beat. and we just kind of just collabed together, and that was our thing. So it's just, I was the DJ, he was the rapper or singer or whatever it was, and we kind of took it a little bit. We did a show for him, and then we kind of separated ways, and he went his way and I went my way, and I just kind of took it to a solo kind of thing, just as a hobby, nothing as like a super business. I thought it was going to be at one point, but I just, as a family man, I just don't have the time and energy to, give up my 9 to 5 and then put all of this into, weddings and stuff. So,
Is it something you could run as like a part-time gig or that you are now where you're going to kind of move away from it, or what's your thought on that?
I mean, if I have time, I try to make it. I mean, friends still hit me up, say, "Hey, are you still into it?" And I am from time to time. I have my equipment and stuff, but with this NFTs and stuff and technology, is I kind of lost focus on that, and I just a little behind on the technology side, even on the DJ stuff and music side. It's just so overwhelming. But I kind of go back to the family thing. It's just that comes first, and everything else is just kind of my niche.
No, I totally understand. Let me ask you this, just so I could paint the picture for myself. The DJ work that you're doing, are you like creating your own songs kind of thing as a DJ, or you're more curating?
Um, I try to create, but I'm very judgmental on myself, which I'm working on.
What do you what do you create? Like, do you do like techno or
Anything, just techno. I try to blend like rap music with techno, or techno with dubstep, or I mean country with rap music. I like to try to mix it all. Or what I like to do is I like to find um, other artists that have different versions of songs and stuff, and take those and throw them into a mix that of regular hip songs. And then when someone goes, "Oh man, that fit in there really well, who was that guy?" And it makes them go and search that lyric or that artist, and that person gets another follow without even knowing, because you're just vibing out to the music. You know what I mean?
have you ever heard of a group called Legion of
And
Doom?
no, I have not.
So I think it's like partially on some level part of what they were doing is what you did, but I really love that group because they would do the same thing you're talking about. They would find two songs that either seemingly didn't go together, or maybe they did, or whatever. They would find these songs that no one had thought of this idea before, clearly, because they're the first one to do it. My favorite one that I heard from them, it was, they called it the quiet screaming, and it's a combination between the quiet things that no one ever knows by the band Brand New and Screaming Infidelities by Dashboard Confessional. And those are both kind of like punk pop bands, so it's not like crazy to see them together, but they never did a song together in real life. And when you hear the way they loop it together, it's like this song was always meant to be that way. And it's funny, I now like prefer that as my favorite version of the song is the mashup, not either solo version. So yes, I know what
Right.
you mean. That's what you're
Yeah,
talking about. Yeah.
exactly. That's exactly what I'm talking about. It's just how two things that shouldn't go together blend together, and it just sounds amazing in my opinion.
Yeah, I think it's cool that you have a talent for that. Like I heard that and I like thought, "Oh, like what other two songs would go together? Could I do this?" I came up with that. So, the fact that you're the person that could follow through on that and you kind of have that musical mind, and some part of you, like whether it's conscious or subconscious or intuitive, you just find that pattern or the places where two seemingly different things can connect. And I think that's cool. I think that's a valuable skill.
Oh,
Um Go
oh
ahead.
no, sorry. Go ahead. I'm just a little cough there.
Oh, no worries. I was gonna ask you, do you also play any instruments? Like, did you ever learn instruments at any point, or it's full on DJ?
It's full on DJ. I mean, my uncle had a drum set back in the day. I would just kind of drum around on in the basement in my grandma's house, but nothing like serious. I've always wanted to learn, but I kind of gravitated more towards the DJ because of the technical and the scratching. I love scratching, so like that's the thing that I've always tried to work on. So
Scratching, like actually, like you're working with actual records, or you do that digitally?
both. I love the vinyl. It's just so expensive, but at the same time,
Kicking it old school. I
I
like it.
love it. My wife's got a collection of 45s from her dad that we have just hanging upstairs in a box that I've been meaning to go through just to like listen or look through. So
Yeah, that's pretty cool. Let me ask you this. If people are getting interested, right? We've got a few listeners here. Some people, I mean myself for sure, and I'm imagining others, they may want to check you out. They may want to hear some of these groovy, funky, vibe and beats that you're making. However, I don't see like like a link tree or anything like that on your bio. How do we find
Uh,
you? Like
well,
online?
the thing is with that, kind of going back to a little bit more about me and everything. I was never really a social media guy. I have it. I post things, with friends and stuff, but I kind of faded away because it was, fogging up a lot of stuff. And I just kind of backed away for a little bit and it opened up my eyes. And then I just kind of went back and just, cleared everything out. But like I'm working on getting, the bio and stuff and Linktree together. And it's something that I've never had before. So I want to do it the right way so people can be, directed where they need to go properly. But I do have a SoundCloud. I can't remember. It's been a while since I actually um, logged into that. Actually.
Yeah, I mean, if you find it later and you want to, post it on the link to the space, that's
Oh
fine.
yeah.
I like to provide value. I know you said you only do this part time, but hey, who knows? Someone could listen to this. They could get intrigued. They could want to book you. Could be a little extra money for your number one passion, which is the family. You could take them out, something like that. So, when you find the link, I would say go ahead and post it. And then in regards to the whole link tree thing, again, I love to provide value to people. I could help you with the link tree. So after we get off the call, if you have any questions and you need help setting it up, we could either do, like a phone call or something, or we could text back and forth or DM, whatever's, appropriate or easiest. But I'd love to help you set up that link tree just so even if you're not, booking every weekend or whatever, maybe a song that you make mashup goes viral. Maybe you start making money on YouTube passively just from the attention it gets. I always like to put out the possibility, open these lanes of possible revenue, even if they never hit. At least they're there, and you tried and you put it out into the universe. Now, music, I can tell you love it. It's one of your biggest passions. You have it in your bio. But as you've said multiple times, really above that, the number one and above that in your bio is family. Do you want to tell me a little bit about, I guess, whatever you want to say about your family? You don't have to talk about like, them as individuals specifically too much, but when did the value of family become so important to you? When you say family is important to you, what does that mean? Like you go like on a lot of trips. You also mentioned travel. Is that with your family? What is family to you?
So family to me is the what really opened up my eyes is I had a bad day at work and I left there after 12-hour shift and I was riding my crotch rocket on the way home, frustrated and mad. And I looked down at my speedometer and I was doing 156 miles an hour. And I slowed down and got off the exit. And I said to myself, I'm going to die on this thing if I don't get rid of it. And I have two girls that I have to take care of. And I couldn't imagine the world that they would be in without me here. So at that point in time, that's when it really kicked in for me. And I ended up selling it a couple months later and I ended up buying a Jeep for the family. So, I mean, it's just that really opened up my eyes to making family number one.
Um, if it's something you can't talk about, fine, but can you talk about like more about whatever that event was or what set you off into that or like how you got into that, mindset?
Well, I kind of had a fucked up childhood, as probably a lot of us have. But basically, my parents and stuff and everything, kind of leading up to everything, they weren't really there. So I kind of just fended for myself. Grew up with my grandma and the bowling alley and working and stuff, and then that kind of made me start to think about family. And then, young and dumb, bunch of money, working two jobs, stuff like that on my own, and I totally lost track where I was going. Sorry. Um,
That's okay.
but I realized that after my mom and dad had split, I told myself wherever I am, whoever I'm with, or whatever I'm doing, that I will never, ever, ever turn out like my mother and father. Like it is. I mean, if it happens, it happens. But I mean, at this point, I'm gonna try my damnedest and hardest to not make that happen. And basically opening it up and realizing of what I have around me and feeding off of them, and them realizing how happy I am to have them here is basically what drives me to work harder, to go on trips with my family. Like we go all the time, two, three, four times a year if we can. We love to go to Disney. My daughters love Disney. My wife loves Disney, so we're frequent flyers to Florida a lot. So we love it down there. But I mean, we just took a family trip to Vegas with my 5 year old. Took her there to see the sights and just eat amazing food and just kind of have a good time, to get her to see that there's other things out there than just, what we have here at home. That there's so much more to explore. That you don't have to settle. That you can do whatever the fuck you want to do if you put your mind to it.
I love it. Get them started early with that kind of positive, passionate, entrepreneurial spirit. I personally, I'm a new father. I have a baby that is about 1 month old. I'm incredibly happy. And part of what I'm doing on the podcast is also learning about things for myself. So, how old did you say, or how old are your kids?
5 and 10.
Yeah, so you've been in the game for a minute. I'm a new father. Do you have any advice, or like anything you would tell somebody who's in my position, who's just coming into this, after you've been in it 10 years, the kind of thing? Oh, I wish I knew this 10 years ago.
um, it's kind of a lot of the things that kind of everyone kind of says. It's based on how you have everything at home. I guess how we did it was is I was fortunate enough to be a stay at home dad for a while, but I would, if I were you, I would definitely get a diaper genie in lots of bags. Throw them all in there. The stinkiness is definitely upon you for a while.
Yeah, that's one of the first things we got. So,
Yeah, yeah,
um,
absolutely. I mean, the sleepless nights. I know it's rough, man, but I'm telling you, in the end, when you wake up in the morning and you sit there and you see your daughter and she's peacefully sleeping after you took care of her all night after being sick, or just pains of teething or growing pains. They don't know yet, but when you see that little smirk or that glimmer in your eye, you're just like, man, that really paid off. So that's one of the real good positives. But one of the sleepless nights that you'll have is just, the reward at the end is amazing.
yeah, I'm learning that too. I'm kind of settling in, getting used to the lack of sleep, getting used to the crying, the waking up, the feeding, all that stuff. So yeah, that'll come with time. What about like imparting values? Like, what about like further down the road, like along the journey? Do you have values that you impart, or, ways or methods, or, do you use V friends at all? I know you're a V friend. Like, how do you teach the right lessons, and what are those lessons for you?
So I kind of teach the lessons to my daughter as how I would go about them, or if I experience the same thing that she's going through. But I tried to let her decide on what she wants to do. I mean, obviously for the like a 2 year old, it's a bit different. But like the terrible twos is with that, it was very rough, but patience is definitely key. And I would suggest to let them, kind of throw that little tantrum a little bit, and not necessarily correct them in a obscene matter or anything like that, but like, just I've noticed that if you raise your voice, a sound of a dad's voice of hey, it kind of gets the attention of them to, okay, all right, we have to start paying attention. That's kind of how I teach my daughter, and she knows that when I give her a little look, or my voice goes a little bit higher, she kind of knows, all right, I know I've acted up a little bit and I have to settle down before I get put in timeout.
Yeah, I agree with that. I like what you said. What stuck out to me is what you said about kind of like pulling back a little bit, letting them cry it out, or letting them try to figure it out a little. The best example I could provide for that, I saw like a reel recently where this guy was talking about how his kid came to him and a wheel fell off his toy car, and he said, "Dad, it's broken." And he said, "Uh-oh, I guess we got to throw it out." So he just throws it out. Then the kid starts wildly crying, and he's like, "What's wrong?" And he's like, I missed my car. And he's like, well, you told me it was broken, so I threw it out. He's like, the kid goes, well, I don't know. Like, maybe I could try to fix it. Give it back to me. Gives the kid back to the car, gets it out of the garbage, whatever, and the wheel. And within 5 minutes, the kid figures out how to pop the wheel back onto the axle. It wasn't broken, it just fell off. It was like a click in thing. He clicked it in himself, and then he learned. Whereas if the dad had just clicked in the wheel, that moment never would have happened. He would have never figured it out for himself. So I agree with you. It's important to give your kids the space to figure things out for themselves and not just do everything for them, even though as a parent, you want to do everything for them because you love them so much,
Yeah,
right?
absolutely. And that even goes for like the schoolwork with my daughter, with, with her ABCs and writing and stuff. Yeah, I want to write the letters for her, but I can't. And one thing I would suggest too is once you get later on down the road with your daughter, my daughter was scared of computer class, but she loves her iPad. She loves playing on the computer, but she's not familiar with the keys. So she gets confused from the uppercase letters and the lowercase letters. So recently, what we've been doing is I've been teaching her how to recognize the lowercase and uppercase letters while typing on the computer with her typing material that she has. And she's more comfortable with going to computer class because she never used to tell me that she would go and she would have fun. But now when I pick her up on Thursdays, she tells me, "Oh, I had so much fun in computer class. I learned this." And that's another good feeling that taking the time to teach them the right way, but also not giving them the answers is a payoff in my book.
Right. You could show them the path, right? But you can't walk it for them.
Exactly.
Now, this could be touchy for people, so if it's that, then tell me. But are you raising your family with any type of religion? And if so, what and why? And thoughts on that.
No, no religion. Really, we don't really practice anything. I mean, we go to church from time to time when we can with family members that do go to church. But nothing, anything like that. Just kind of, we believe in like manifesting, and if you talk about it enough and be about it enough, that it'll manifest itself and show it in its own way at its own time, and that's a proven fact. I'm a very firm believer of that. So astrology, I'm big on astrology. Well, my wife is, and she kind of got me back into it. So just learning that all over again is very interesting.
Let me ask you this. Um, you say manifesting. What and you say it's a proven fact. A lot of people, think manifesting is some woo-woo stuff. I'm not one of those people. I am a willful wizard. I am a manifester. But how did you get to that place where you overcame, maybe some sort of doubt, or how did you get to this conviction about, you attract the energy you put out type of
So
concept?
I'll give you two stories if you don't mind. One is containing this PFP that I have, and the other one is the real reason why I believe that manifesting is something that is very achievable and believable. Uh,
I mind a little bit. You can only pick one of
okay,
them.
I'm gonna go.
No, no, I'm just kidding. I'm fucking with you. No, I don't mind at all. Do two, do three, do whatever the
All
fuck
right.
you want. Go.
So I'm basically this. Like I said before, I'm a 9 to 5 guy, kind of like a paycheck to paycheck. We save when we can. But this PSP that I have, I joined Twitter. I don't know, maybe 8 or 9 months ago or something like that. And I found Jeremy Knows. I found Victor Bot Tim on Instagram, and kind of just it attracted me somehow, some way to V friends. But then uh, well, a little bit before that, I found Gary basically, and his motivational shit helped me through some tough times. But back to the manifesting thing is that my wife had weight loss surgery, and we both worked really fucking hard. With me working overtime and finding the right job, and it provided the right insurance, and she did an amazing fucking job of going through the dietitian and seeing the doctors and the sleep apnea stuff, and going through it was a year-long process, and she stuck it out, and she eventually got the date for her surgery. And ever since then, it's been 5 years now. we've been trying to get her other surgery done for her tummy tuck for her loose skin, and we've been working hard and saving hard, and we kept getting denied, and we just kept on trying and kept on saving. And she had put in a thing for the hospital that we have here, and we got a letter back the other day saying that the insurance was going to cover um, 95% of the surgery, and we're only going to have to come out of pocket like $1,000. And her hard work, her dedication of eating right and switching her lifestyle, and just her journey, seeing it firsthand and being a better person and doing this because of our daughter too, health reasons, is, to see her grow. And we just talked about it, and we practiced a lot of the stuff, and we never gave up. And long behold, dude, we could fucking, we're going to be scheduling her thing. It's going to send her journey even further than what she already is. So that's the main reason I believe manifesting and being about it and thinking positive about things. It'll eventually show up.
I think that's a beautiful story. And I think it's a great example of how if you stay positive and you hold it out, things can work out and you can attract that to you. Now, that's a beautiful example. That's definitely like part of what I was looking for. But I think you said you had two examples, no?
Yeah. So
Okay, cool. So I get to
yeah.
those two.
So the this PFP, this iconic passionate parrot. Uh, it goes back to a guy from zero to hero. I guess basically, I don't know what the hell I'm doing with it yet, but I mean, I'm gonna hold it forever. Don't get me wrong with that, but I don't have any skin in the game. I've never really like. I just purchased crypto maybe 3 months ago for the first time ever with my wife, and I have this iconic thing, but I joined and found V Friends and Gary, and I found Jeremy Knows and his spaces, which led me to following you. And I see the Web3 Stoop down there, and everybody in this room that I follow. Uh, but just being consistent and being there and learning and listening and just getting out of my comfort zone, and leading up to the beginning of this month, I was in the Discord, and my wife was in there when Gary was giving these away, and I was doing dishes, and she's like, "You better get your ass in here and get on your fucking phone and try to enter this." And I literally entered the giveaway with like 3 minutes to spare and tweeted it out. I'm like, whatever. I win, I win. No expectations. That's kind of how I go about things too. Is I go into everything with no expectations. So I have whatever comes of it comes of it. And I closed my phone. I opened it back up. I looked on Twitter, and there it was. Fucking Gary Vee said that I was the winner of this iconic, and my fucking Twitter blew up. And I have no idea. Like, I just started using Spaces not too long ago, so it's just like I'm so new to all this shit, but I also don't want to be that guy without being that guy. But I love meeting all these cool fucking people.
Yeah, I think that's another beautiful example. For me, that's even like a more powerful example of the way attraction can work. Because in the first one, yes, there's the power of attraction, there's the power of your positivity, but then there was also the factor of some of it was insurance, some of it was logistics, some of it was patience, some of it was pushing forward, making phone calls, I think you said, and like putting in, the effort on your end. So I believe in the law of attraction too. I believe it often doesn't work at all if you don't have that physical piece to it where you're in alignment, making the calls and also putting out to the universe what you want. You got to do both. You got to do the effort and you got to do the energy and the prayer and the thoughts and the positivity. What's really powerful though is sometimes, there are these examples where some people call it coincidence, but a believer would say, wow, this is a really powerful example of the law of attraction where it's just this random giveaway kind of thing. There is no work to put in. It was a synchronicity. It was a moment in time. You were positive. You put it out there. Your wife gave you this message. You followed it. You were living in the moment. And then something beautiful just kind of opened up for you. So to me, that's even like a more like magical example because there is no like real world work, so to speak, that you could have done for a giveaway. So I think that's beautiful. I think those are two beautiful examples of the concept of attraction and the law of attraction. Now, where did you first hear the term attraction, or do you know it as a term? Like we're both saying it. I'm wondering, like, I'm assuming when you say it, there's like a much larger, context to attraction, and it's a thing called the law of attraction, and a lot of it stems from this book called The Secret by Rhonda Byrne. Like, are you familiar with that whole context? Did The Secret get you into this kind of mindset, or was it something else?
I'm not familiar with that, and I would like to know more about it if you could explain it more. And kind of lost on that one.
Yeah, let me explain that, but just first tell me, like, how did, if that wasn't the reference, and I'll tell you what that is, how did you get into it? Like, how did you find this language, this words, this concept about attracting and manifesting?
Uh, I don't know, man. I mean, just I was kind of always that Debbie Downer guy, and I basically kind of started seeing the motivational speaker stuff roll through Instagram and stuff. Kind of led me to Gary, and it just clicked. And going back to the surgery thing and just her not giving up is that if she put in the work, you're gonna do something with it. So that's kind of how I kind of came about those words and using them, I guess.
That is super interesting to me, because you're the second person I've had on the podcast that I thought for sure must have been like a fan of Rhonda Byrne and The Secret based on what you were saying about the law of attraction and the way you think. But then said, no, I've never heard of her. So Rhonda Byrne is an author. I don't know like a ton about her. I know back when I was in, I think around like high school ish, I don't know, early 2006 ish, I don't know, somewhere around there. She came out with this book called The Secret. And The Secret is basically giving the public the concept of the law of attraction, which is what you're talking about. Lots of people over time talk about certain universal laws, like the law of, like, I don't know, karma, or law of attraction, these types of things. They're beliefs. But some people feel like they're not beliefs, they're universal truths. So the law of attraction basically says that one way to say it would be like your vibe attracts your tribe, so to speak, but way bigger than that, way expounded on that. It's whatever you're experiencing in life, you attracted to yourself. And whether you believe in this law or not, it doesn't matter. You are subject to it. Um, so like there's also a confusion that I want to clarify too, right? So the book talks about like law of attraction, positive thinking, positive energy, affirmations, and how that could get what you want. It talks about things like making a vision board, right? Which is like putting up like a poster board or a cardboard kind of thing and taking everything you want in life, like a picture of the ideal house you want, the ideal car, like your ideal salary, write it on a check or something with your name on it. Like, do all these things to put positive energy and put it on a vision board, um, and then help manifest it to you. Now, The Secret gets a lot of criticism, and so does the law of attraction, because through translation to mainstream society and, just people missing the message or not getting the deeper points or what have you, it gets translated as put a picture of a car on your wall and one day it'll appear in your driveway, right? Um, no, that's not how it works, and that's a total misconception. It's not just going to show up in your driveway, because the secret, quote unquote, of the secret is you don't attract what you look at. You don't necessarily attract what you think. You attract what you are slash what you truly believe. Like, you attract what your actual energy is, right? So let's say you put up the picture of the car, but inside you feel like, I don't know, my friend told me to do this. I'm just going to try it. I don't really believe in this shit. Well, the main energy you have is I don't believe. So you're not going to get anything out of that. You're just going to attract disbelief. You're going to attract more situations that confirm the belief you're putting out, which is I don't believe. If you put up the picture of the car and say, I want this car, and you do literally nothing else in your life to move towards getting that car, again, your true vibration, your true energy, it's not putting out the message to the universe that you want the car. Because someone who really wants a car, and that's like, truly down to their core, they would be doing everything they could to get a car. They would be, getting a job, like to get money for the car or doing a side hustle. They would be, talking to people online, telling them what kind of car they want, networking a lot, asking for deals, right? So if you're not doing that, you're not putting out the energy that you wanted. So you cannot use the law of attraction without alignment in the physical and without putting in the actual work. But if you do all of that, then when the secret the quote unquote comes in, the secret, right? They call it the secret because everyone kind of knows that hard work or, showing up early, leaving late, that type of stuff. That's more intuitive. That's more accepted. People don't really argue with like, yeah, like that's a bad idea. There's no way you could get successful by working really. No, no, no. People know that. The secret is that if you work really hard and do all of that, then you add this other part to it, the secret, the vision board, the car, the belief. This is where some people go, okay, I still don't believe this. Oh, it's a coincidence. But if you really believe in it, it's the idea that there's this extra force, more than just the positive psychology of putting your goals up and having it motivate you. That if you're the person who puts up the picture of the car, does all the work, does everything in life, that it will somehow increase your odds or increase your luck or increase your chances of probability that when you're doing all this work and networking and looking for this car you want and you put all this energy towards it, somehow, some way, someone who you didn't know or didn't expect or like, were never connected to before is going to come forward on Facebook or on one of these messages. You're going to get a reply and the person's going to say, "Oh, this is crazy. Like, I don't even usually go on Facebook, but I just saw this. I actually have this car. I'm moving to Florida. I'm willing to take a little bit of a hit on the price because we really got to fucking go. I've had it posted for months. You're the first person that says they're really interested. And if you want it, you could have it at this low price because I got to fucking go." So it's believing that that is the secret. That the secret is the universe. If it sees you're doing the work and putting out the energy and are in true alignment and your energy is resonating, it'll open these kind of, other little secret doors kind of thing or other opportunities where you still got to go and talk to the guy and, make the deal, but it gives you an extra bit of luck. It's like increasing your luck if you believe in luck. That was a little long. Does that all make sense?
No, that absolutely makes total sense, and I'm right on board with you with that, and I'm definitely going to have to read that book, and it relating to what you had just said is phenomenal. I love hearing the words of wisdom because I'm always sucking up some kind of information, however it may be. But I mean, like you said, it goes into being there in the universe, seeing the work that you're doing and stuff. Like I'm grateful that like I said, I got this awesome freaking NFT. And before I even got this and was into the community, I'm like, you know what, I'm gonna make it to VCon if I have an NFT or not. I'm gonna make it there, and I want to meet everybody. Regardless if I can contribute to the community or not, I'm gonna make it there. And I kept saying that I'm gonna make it, I'm gonna do it, and showing up and hanging out and talking to people and sending DMs and stuff. Like it all worked out somehow, some way, and the universe had seen it. And I don't know if you want to say bless me with it or not, but I mean now I have this thing, and I'm not guaranteed that I'm still going to VCon with this. So I'm still going to put in the work to put the effort into to going to getting a ticket if I have to buy one, or if I'm gifted one, or if someone can't go, or whatever it may be. But I'm still going to do the work because the universe is seeing what I'm doing, like you were saying, and eventually it'll pay off. And what I see may not be right away, but it'll show itself when it's ready.
I agree with that 100%. And like I said, I, through all of my experiences in life, have come to the point where I believe in all of this because I think it's the most logical conclusion. I've had personal experiences. I've experimented with this, like, putting things out, saying I wanted certain things. Then like seeing the kind of coincidences and the first few, I thought like, okay, that like I guess that could, you rationalize them. You go, was that like because I put out those like affirmations and messages? Was that because I, pictured that and like asked for that? Like, I don't know, this might have happened anyway. But like I've been doing this shit I think for 10 years, like learning, studying all this type of stuff, like my spiritual journey. And in my personal experience, I do notice like a difference. I do notice a connection between me having the law of attraction mindset and having a more positive impact on my life, and me not, and that having like a totally different negative impact on my life, not only in terms of how I felt personally, but the whole picture of my life in terms of, where I was in my career and what people I would attract around myself. And just on every level, it's completely different for me, undeniably, experientially, when I have the law of attraction mindset. And I emphasize that because, like I said, I had a long spiritual journey. I came from a place where originally I was an atheist, and that kind of mindset is still somewhere in me that like checks against that, and goes, well, what if you're wrong? Like, these are still beliefs. Like, even though you've had experience, and it's, what if it really is all coincidence, or what if it's not coincidence, but what if there's some other explanation other than this magical law of attraction thing, and that's really what it is. So I always have this skeptical kind of like ponder it from all angles. But what I love about the law of attraction and the way I've conceptualized it over the years is it doesn't fucking matter, because even if, and I believe this, like I said, I've come to believe this, but even if somehow I stopped believing this and thought it was wrong, I wouldn't stop believing and doing anything different in regards to the law of attraction, because even if you don't believe in it, it is undeniable the positive psychology aspect of it. Like, if you put up the car, the back to that example, you put up the car poster on your wall, even if it never happens that, this person kind of magically walks into your life and offers you the car, like that's not your experience of it, because let's say that's fake, the positive psychology is real. So if you have something on your wall every day, you're looking at it every day, you're going to notice things related to it much more frequently. Like, let's say you're in like a crowded mall and somebody says the name of the car you want. Your subconscious usually just filters that shit out. Like, unless someone says your name like in a crowded room, your mind just like throws everything else a lot of the time to background noise. So it's, even if you don't believe in the magic of the universe, there's still the magic of the mind and the magic of psychology, where you're training your subconscious mind. Because there's the conscious and the subconscious. The conscious, some people say, is just the tip of the iceberg, and really, most of us is the subconscious, or however you want to see it. So if the subconscious is really driving us, right? It's the primal, the core drives. It's the lust, the hunger, like, keeping yourself alive. Um, so if that's the place all of this is coming from, it's like you want to train that part of yourself. You want to be the master of your subconscious. You want to steer it in the right direction, because it's like this wild force, right? It creates your dreams. It doesn't obey rules of time and space and normal storytelling. So it's like, how do you even get through to this thing? And that's how. It's through repetition, it's through imagery, it's through, putting the poster picture of the car up on your wall, and then that sinks into your subconscious. So now your mind is trained, consciously and subconsciously, to be looking for every opportunity, every conversation, every word, like every, pathway that could lead you to your ultimate goal. Does that kind of make sense?
That makes total sense because I what I've done with my vocabulary and doing with on my journey is that it's kind of basic. Maybe Gary might have said it or I might have heard it from somebody else, but like I stopped using the words I can't or I wish or I hope. It's more of I am or I'm going to do or I'm doing or I'm tackling it now. You know what I mean? Like those types. Just I'm not those positive words. Like I found myself the other day while I was doing some stuff. I'm like, man, I really hope that I get this promotion or something or whatever at work. And I'm like, no, I'm gonna work harder and I'm gonna get that promotion. And I think that kind of plays off of what you just said. So I'm if that kind of makes any sense, that's kind of like how my mindset is.
That makes so much sense. That goes 100% along with what I'm saying. You're totally hearing the message and, putting it back out correctly. Um, what I would think you may find interesting, hopefully, hopefully, no, what you will find interesting, um, get it? Is there's this idea that some religions, or a lot of religions, were influenced by this thing that came out of Egypt called the Emerald Tablet. uh and there's like a lot of skepticism around it. People don't know who wrote it. People think it was this guy Hermes Trismegistus. People think that's a fake name and that it was really literally the Egyptian god Thoth that wrote the Emerald Tablet. Some people believe that like the aliens, or sorry, the Egyptian gods are aliens. They're really real beings that were here. It depends what you believe. That's not so important. Just the concept I want to get out of all of that is this Egyptian god Thoth gave humans allegedly, according to the scriptures, gave humans knowledge of like language and writing and magic, right? Part of magic that everybody knows colloquially, I think, is casting spells, right? Everyone's heard that phrase like a wizard or a witch, she casts a spell. Going back to what we're talking about with language, there's this idea in the ancient religions and philosophies that part of what magic started out as was was literally spelling, like spelling words. Like not everyone could write at that time. Not everyone could read at that time. In fact, most people couldn't. So it was teaching people to use their words specifically and intentionally to spell, to cast a spell, to spell the words kind of thing. So, whether you believe it or not, I just think that's still an interesting concept and connection because it ties back exactly to what we're saying and it still loops back into that positive psychology. Like nothing really escapes positive psychology. Everything that has a quote unquote woo woo side that people go, nah, that's bullshit. Well, there's probably a positive psychology part of it. To your point about the words, it's the same thing for the law of attraction. Um, and it's the same thing for the positive psychology. Your subconscious mind and the universe, however you want to see it, hears every single word you're saying, similar to like a Google search where it doesn't get like the concept as much as it's looking for the keywords. What I mean by that, a lot of people say, don't forget to. Stop saying that. The key word is forget. If you put in don't forget to in, Google, you'll find things that have the word forget in them. That's what it's looking for. It's looking for forget. That's what your subconscious is doing. So even though you said don't is not as strong as that you said the word forget. That's the key word. So say remember to do this. And that's exactly what you're talking about with stop saying I hope. When you say I hope, your body hears that. Your subconscious hears that and it takes it as a message to say, "Okay, I don't believe this is going to happen." Hope is different than belief. So if I said I hope, that means I don't believe. Say I believe, right? And like I said before, you actually got to believe. So if you just say it and you don't, that's not going to work. You got to say it and then say it enough, get it to a point where it feels natural. You got to get that voice in your head, get the negative ones out, get the positive ones in. But once that is, your truth and you find that voice resonates with you, yeah, you say those things, you say the right words, you spell quote unquote the right words, right? And you cast this positive energy on your life. What do you think about that?
I think it all comes back to a complete circle of what you put into that positive circle that aligns with everything you had just said. Goes back to the psychology of I will, I'm going to, and will happen. It all comes full circle, like you said. If you believe it or not, it's your mindset. It's makes total sense. To be honest with you, it really does.
Awesome. And yeah, that's why I like to say it this way is because if you're into the kind of woo-woo side of it like I am, a lot of the times that could split the room. And all of a sudden, half the people stop listening because they go, well, this isn't going to work for me. I'm not one of those woo-woo people. I always present it both ways so people get the idea like, no, this is a fucking thing that actually fucking works. I know because I've tried it and done it. I thought what you thought in the beginning, I thought it was bullshit, but I'm the type of skeptic that goes, okay, if I think it's bullshit, I got to give it a shot. I got to actually try it. So I tried it kind of to disprove it. Like I really got into the law of attraction because my mom was into this shit and I always thought she was crazy. I thought this stuff was dumb. And I was like, all right, I'm gonna do this, every day for 30 days. Let's see if this happens kind of thing. And in trying to disprove her, I started having these experiences, actual experiences where I was like, holy shit, like this seems like a change in my life that correlates with where I made this change and decided to test this thing. It's kind of similar to the idea like if you don't believe in magic, you'll never see it, except you don't really need to believe in the secret. That's the thing. Like you need to believe in the secret for it to work on the energy level, right? Like that's true, but you don't for the positive psychology. Your psychology, your subconscious mind doesn't give a fuck about what you do and don't believe. It just takes in all the information around you. And yes, to an extent, it if you're putting out bad energy, right? Like you attract it, but the positive psychology works. Repetition works. That's how you train your subconscious. You just keep putting the same shit over and over and over again, and you will become the master of your subconscious mind. Now, Thomas, we're in the last 10 minutes of the interview, the podcast here. This has been another wonderful episode, wonderful conversation. I have enjoyed every episode I've done so far. The last 10 minutes, I usually do a self promotion kind of spotlight on the guest. I mean, the whole podcast, right, is for you and to promote yourself and whatever you want. But if you have a specific call to action, a product, um, anything like that, is there anything you kind of want to put out there? And then if not, not everyone has something they're selling or anything like that. Some people just have like a kind of last words or mic drop or message to the world or to the audience. Do you have anything of that nature?
No, man. I just kind of everything is just a regular guy, man. Just learning new stuff about crypto and NFTs and all kinds of stuff. So I'm here to learn. So I'm popping into spaces when I can, talking, meeting people. I want to thank you for hosting the space. Everybody that's in here that stuck around and take a listen. Um, it's super awesome. I'm trying to think what else, man. I just I'll as soon as I find that link to the SoundCloud, I'll go ahead and post that up there. Um, Trying to think, man. I'm just here to meet new people, man. I'm excited about VCon to meet everybody, you and everybody in this room if they're going, and it's definitely a
Yeah, I'm
journey.
going.
Yeah, I've
I'm
definitely
going. I know Web3 Stoop is going. I'm
yeah.
not sure about the other listeners. I can't remember. I feel like Jones made a post saying he was going, but I can't remember. But yeah, I'll definitely be there.
Oh yeah, I mean it's definitely super cool. I can't wait. So it's just if you see me around or start seeing me post a lot more, I mean that's kind of what I want to do is be more helpful to the community in some way, somehow. If it's supporting or helping or posting or whatever. Like I said, I don't have a lot of money or whatever. I mean, I know that's not a thing and stuff. So it's just I'm all about helping people if I can help because you guys have helped me to get where I'm at now, and if I can give that back to somebody that was in my position or someone that's way above me that might need a little something, I'm more than willing to help it because if I have it, I'm more than willing to share. So that's kind of basically about it. But I appreciate the conversation. Super awesome suggestions. I'm definitely gonna look at that book. But yeah, that's all that I have.
All right, cool. So I'll close out. We'll do like we still have some minutes, so we'll do a couple last quick questions. Um, do you have a vision, like specifically of like this kind of helpful you becoming like an icon type thing? Like do you see yourself as like a motivational speaker, like a potential YouTube personality, or it's more, hey, I'm here, I'm living my life, I'm living from moment to moment, and along the journey I'm going to help as many people as I can. So if I can help you, let me know, cuz it makes me feel good to help and put positive energy out and cooperate. Like it's more like that.
Yeah, it's more like that, man. I'm just on there. Just I don't know where I want to be at, and this is another step into where I want to go. And I love talking, so doing these spaces and stuff and everything. That's kind of what I would like to do eventually. Um, but yeah, just
Like you want to be like a spaces host kind of thing
yeah, like a
eventually?
spaces host or something, or just kind of a guy that helps put things together, or just whatever it may be. But I just like bullshitting, man, with like-minded people. So this is really cool.
Awesome. And I love your positive spirit that you want to help people and help the world. I feel the same way. And, we found each other partially through V Friends. I find a lot of people in that community do feel the same way. Again, shout out to everyone in the audience who's listening. Shout out to all of the V Friends. Uh, Patron, shout out to you. Patron, I see you requested up. We are closing out in like 4 minutes, so I'm not gonna, have you come up. But I do appreciate you being in the space and requesting. Um, what else did I want to say? Oh, what I was gonna say is Thomas, is there anything I could do to help you? Like, is there anything you kind of need that you're looking for? Any type of connection to another person, or something like if I run into this, I'll let Thomas know, that kind of thing.
To be honest with you, not right now, man. I mean, I appreciate the offer and everything, and I'll keep it in my back pocket for future. But just kind of genuine, just kind of just meeting people, and eventually, if I get to that point where I'm stuck at, I'm like, oh, you know what? That's right, I forgot. He knows, that I can connect with this person, or I need that person to connect me with this person. So I appreciate it. If you don't mind me holding on to that, I will.
Yeah, no, I don't mind at all. That's exactly, you got the point of what I'm saying. That is what I'm putting out there. Because like I said, like you, like, I genuinely believe that it's the best thing to be positive, do good. That's the game I'm playing. Be the kindest warrior kind of thing. Like, you know, there's like a certain ego part of everybody, right? The way I look at life is I felt like, okay, I don't think I can get rid of my ego and, become like the Buddhist monk kind of thing. But what if instead of like making my ego the thing, I want to be better than everyone else by like competing and being better than everyone? What if I kind of like inverted my ego and said, I want to be the best at not having an ego? Like, use your ego to eliminate your ego. So that's like, I don't know. It's like, I don't know if everyone can do that or if that makes sense. It's some people go, oh, that's weird. That's paradoxical. Well, that's what drives me. I like to pull from opposites. Um, so I don't know if that helps, but feel free to use that as an idea and as a motivation. Feel free to, listen to any other episodes of the podcast. And if you go, oh, that's a really interesting person, but I feel weird reaching out, reach out to me. I'll make the connection. I'll do the introduction. Maybe we'll do an episode with the three of us, and we'll connect that way. Or you two will do an episode. You'll do your own spaces or whatever you want to do. But like I said, I'm here to help. I'm here to put out positivity into the world, and I love that you're here to do the same. I love your values with family. I love that you found like the concept of the law of attraction without even ever kind of hearing that it's like this much larger societal context, which must just have happened, I would imagine, through people who I think do know about it, talking about it in some of the reels you're watching, but not talking about the context. That's how I guess it would trickle through, but who knows? But yeah, I thought that was really interesting as well. Yeah, that's it. I enjoyed you coming on the show. If you ever want to come back for another episode, I always invite the guests to come back. If anyone in the audience wants to come up and, do an episode sometime, just DM me. There's really no rules to who can and can't come up other than keep it positive. No like dark stuff, no like sadism and hurting people. I'm not into that. I don't want to give space to that. Um, but yeah, anything positive, anything passionate, anything helping the world, that's what I'm here to do and to promote. And just want to check one more time. We have 1 minute. I'm going to do the closing message. Thomas, any last message to the world here?
Uh, thanks everybody for hanging out and chit chatting with us and shit. Just hanging out, learning new stuff. Likewise as well. If you need anything, to let me know. Even all the way down to helping with your daughter. Congratulations on that as well. So close it out.
Thank you so much. And last quick question: where are you
Uh,
located?
I'm on the East Coast. I'm in Ohio.
Ohio. Okay, cool. Yeah, it's a little bit further from New York, so I won't ask you to help change a diaper. But obviously, if you're out there or whatever, if it's something you could help with online or music related or DJing, editing, that type of thing, I will reach out to you, and I hope others reach out to you as well. With that said, again, thank you so much for coming on the show. Thank you for sharing your time. Thank you for sharing your vulnerability and your lessons and your perspective with us. I hope everyone in the audience learned and felt it was valuable. I appreciate the audience, everyone for staying the full time and listening. If you could, like and retweet the space or maybe drop a few comments, let the algorithm know people are vibing with this space. That would be super chill. If not, no hard feelings. And a message from our friend Afakasi Brand. If you haven't heard it today, you are loved. It's important to know that you're loved. There's positive energy in the universe. The universe itself is energy. Some people believe that that energy itself is love. So not only are you loved, you are love itself down to the cells in your body. But like I said, if you haven't heard it today, you are loved.